What is the trashiest thing somebody has done at your family Thanksgiving? What is the trashiest thing somebody has done at your family Thanksgiving? 1. Grandma threatened to crap in the turkey if we didn't let her watch Jeopardy! And quat. Slurmnerb. 2. My aunt, uncle, and cousins make no food and take 90% of it home. They also get there late and leave first. And quat. Coffeeman 360. 3. My aunt decided to announce she got chlamydia as we started to eat. And quat. Shading night. 4. The woman my cousin had just married stole a Costco-sized box of individually wrapped Cheez-Its packages from our garage. I just happened to notice they were gone when putting food in the fridge, asked about it publicly, and she locked up, started stuttering, and went to get them out of her car. She returned with the excuse, I thought these were mine. I have a box just like them at home. And quat. Handabear 17. 5. My uncle poured Crown Royal on his turkey and ate it. And quat. Export I. 6. My cousin always says she'll bring the bread. She's always at least an hour late, shows up with her dick of the week, and a bag of sliced sandwich bread, or stale rolls. And quat. Ohio Meggie. 7. She was responsible for bringing the dessert. She showed up 3 hours late, and instead of bringing dessert, she brought an open bag of frozen pierogies. It was a real downer. And quat. The long and winding RD. 8. One of my aunts found out her husband was sleeping with her brother. She found one of her husband's shirts, from a vacation they took, with cum on it in her brother's bedroom when she went to the bathroom. She asked her brother why he had his shirt, and he told her. I wasn't surprised, though, tbh. And quat. Tai 21. 9. My uncle shot the TV because of how the Lions were playing. This was back in 77. And quat. It was a 17-inch black and white TV, with 2 knobs, one for VHF channels and one for UHF. He and my dad had started drinking early, and the Lions were awful. After a bad play late in the game, he strolled into the bedroom, picked up his revolver, and shot the TV. We ate dinner shortly after and then went to my grandma's house to watch the Cowboys game. And quat. Ironhead_mule. 10. My husband's brother and his sister-in-law, who was married to his other brother, always disappeared for about 20 to 40 minutes at the same time. This happened for 4 years in a row before anyone got nosy enough to go looking for them. Sister-in-law is now married to the Thanksgiving hookup brother. And quat. Sixan Books. 11. Last year, my husband's grandma hosted Thanksgiving dinner at her house and asked us to buy and make the turkey. Not even the trashiest part. We had to go spend Thanksgiving with my husband's dad's side that morning, so we dropped the turkey off on our way to his dad's house. His grandma said that they would be eating at 4 p.m. We arrived back at his grandma's house around 3:45 p.m., and everyone had already eaten all the food, including the entire turkey. And quat. Crime Fighter. 12. My mother told our aunt to help herself to some leftovers, and she took a full 5th bottle of $350 whiskey. She got called out on it and claimed to have accidentally grabbed it. She returned it half full, so, either she chugged some in the car or dumped some out in spite. And quat. Suitology. 13. Aunt took all of the leftover turkey, all of it. And quat. Thematcrum. 14. My uncle and grandfather don't have a good relationship, but we're tolerating each other because Thanksgiving. My uncle was cooking lasagna, and my grandfather decided to help, so he grated the cheese. He did this in another room, because the kitchen was full of other people cooking. We have a big Thanksgiving, maybe 15 to 20 who love to eat. I had brought in the cheese, and everything was going fine. And quat. Flash forward to dinner time, the food is coming out, and as tradition dictates, we always start with lasagna. My grandfather made some joke like, I know you hate me, but at least I'm great, and then, shit hit the fan. My uncle literally went into a rage and was yelling at everyone because we didn't tell him he was using tainted cheese. Then said hash it and proceeded to flip the table all the food was on. Then, my grandfather called him outside to settle the score, which resulted in 2 grown men fist fighting in the backyard, culminating with my granddad getting thrown into the pond we lived off of, and slicing his leg on a jagged rock that he landed on. The rest of us ordered Chinese food and kicked my uncle out, and my grandfather refused the hospital because he had a little too much holiday joy in him at the time. Surprisingly, my uncle hasn't come to any holiday get-togethers for years now. And quat. Farandi. 15. My father's girlfriend sat at the head of the table at my house and acted like she was the hostess while monopolizing the entire conversation. I was her waitstaff. It was my first time meeting her. And quat. Also, she said I should eat very little to watch my figure, it's my Thanksgiving meal? That I should dye my hair, I like my natural color, that she was disappointed in my husband's wardrobe choice for the evening. He looked fine, and the grand finale was that she told my father I was a bitch after the night was over after everything I did to make her comfortable. And quat. Deleted. 16. My aunt was sent to bed because she was too drunk last year and ended up falling down the stairs an hour later when she tried coming back. And quat. Tim Whale. 17. Faked a heart attack. Here's what happened. my grandmother didn't like my dad very much, and she picked a fight with him, so he decided that he was going home. When my grandmother realized that my stepmom, her daughter, was going to take my dad's side and go home, too, she yelled a lot, and then, as a last-ditch effort, dramatically clutched her chest and collapsed very carefully. It was outside, and I guess she didn't want to bump her head or muss her clothes. And quat. Dad offered to call 911, but my grandfather said it wasn't necessary, and when my grandmother realized no one was taking her seriously, she opened her eyes, allowed my grandfather to help her up, and went inside with him while fake sobbing. Normally, she was quite nice, but she had her moments and really wasn't happy that her daughter had grown up and had a life. Holidays usually brought out the worst in her, which was weird because she loved cooking and celebrating. And quat. Acorn Girl, 18. My mom told my cousin's husband not to cuss in front of their baby because she'll eventually repeat it. I get it, not her place maybe? Cousin's husband pulls out his gun and threatens to shoot my mom for telling him what to do. He looks exactly like you'd imagine. And quat. Olive_the_cat. 19. My dad threw dog shit at my cousin because said cousin farted in my dad's face. And quat. Kosher vape cloud. 20. Every Thanksgiving with my wife and I host it. About 15 people come, and everyone brings side dishes as is the custom. Not her mother, she only brings stuff for herself. She proudly announces that whatever she brought is just for her. It's not for diet purposes, because she eats all the other food, too. And quat. When dessert makes an appearance, she will make a big scene about wanting the first piece instead of letting the kids get theirs and get in their way. One year, there was a big argument about the corner pieces of a chocolate cake. She went first as usual, and cut herself 2 corner pieces and took them both. If you want to make little kids cry, do that. She wouldn't give them up, though. Also, she treats our guest room and bathroom like a hotel. When she leaves, she takes the toilet paper rolls, the Kleenex box, paper towels, soap, etc. And quat. Kev Will, 21. Every year, we had Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house. One year, everyone was there but one aunt. She was outside in her car refusing to come in. Turns out, she had taken out a credit card in my cousin's name while said cousin was in the Navy. Cousin found out on the drive over while opening her mail, and had racked up $10,000 plus in debt for my cousin. And quat. Hoax 13. 22. One of my mom's friends was invited to our Thanksgiving because her kids were at their SO's families for the holiday. That year, my uncle brought a bottle of homemade limoncello to share. The stuff was delicious, but it was also 50% alcohol. Everyone was drinking it out of little 1-ounce glass cups. My mom's friend instead poured herself a full wine glass, half the bottle, when no one was looking, downed it in 15 minutes, and then tried to go back for more. She was passed out drunk at least an hour before dinner even began. And quat. Style Me's, 23. We were hosting Thanksgiving and prepared all the food ourselves, and my mom spent all morning cooking and baking. My aunt, uncle, and cousins arrived right before dinner and walked in with a White Castle crave case and said they just stopped to eat a few minutes ago. We had prepared Thanksgiving just for them, and they decided that they wanted White Castle instead. And quat. 24. My aunt always brought several large Tupperware containers and would begin packing up food for herself immediately after everyone had filled their plate. If you thought you might want seconds, you had to take them the first time because there was often nothing left after she'd filled her containers. And quat. Of course, if you did that, she'd make a snide comment about how much food you were eating. I don't recall ever seeing her sit down with a plate to eat with us. She was always in the kitchen packing up the food that she hadn't paid for or prepared. Her daughter, 28 at the time, wouldn't speak to anyone and fed the shrimp hors d'oeuvres to the cats. They're no longer invited. And quat. Need a better password. And lastly, 25. I was at my wife's uncle's house for Thanksgiving, and his wife decided right after dinner to play their wedding video, because it was also their anniversary weekend. She looks for a half hour to find the videotape, finds it, and gathers the whole dinner party, about 25-ish people, to the back room area, plays the video, and right as she's walking down the aisle, midway down the aisle, it goes fuzzy and cuts to Dale Earnhardt's funeral. My wife's uncle used the wedding tape to record Dale Earnhardt's funeral. Granted, it was in small-town Michigan where the NASCAR track is, but still, everyone froze in complete shock, and I started laughing and felt like I was in a sitcom, but it was real life. And quat. Hoministo.